What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another trailer reaction. And coming up here in September, in just a couple weeks, September 24th I believe this comes out, and that would be Marvel Zombies. And I have not one but two trailers that they released over the last 2 weeks, and I meant to react to the original trailer last week, but I just never got around to it, and it was short, so I was like, maybe I won't get around to it. I'll just, get into the show in September when that comes out. But then they dropped a second trailer, and the second trailer looks really cool too. So I was like, you know what, might as well make a little trailer reaction video. I didn't get a chance to watch any movies last night, so the movie review that would have came out today wouldn't be available, so might as well do some trailer reactions for y'all. So let's jump right on into it and start talking about the first trailer for Marvel Zombies. Kind of like a dope heavy metal song. Is there a virus affecting your system? And you get the fucking zombie Captain America roar at the end of that. I was like, wow. So you see the team here. It looks like they're getting led by maybe Okoye, maybe Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Zombie Abomination, and Zombie Cap is still around. I believe he's only the top portion of himself though, because he got sliced in half by his own shield in What If Marvel Zombies episode. So it looks like this episode is it's going to be a 4-part series, and it's going to be nuts. And it's TVMA as they start that. The following program is rated TVMA as we shoot an arrow through the TVMA symbol, and blood splatters everywhere, and the guy's dead on the ground, and it looks like Kate Bishop Hawkeye walks over and takes the arrow out of his head because she's got to reuse that thing. More zombies to kill. But Marvel Animation presents, and we see Shang-Chi and Katie running, and there's something with this animation style that you can make out some people pretty easily, and other people just look way too similar to other people, so you're like, I wish there was a little bit more identifying features in the animation, at least of their faces, but it is what it is. Someone standing there and gets his heart punched through his chest by maybe Hercules, maybe Roy Kent Hercules in animation form. I'm not sure who that would be that punched through that poor guy's chest. And like I was saying with the animation, we can't tell who that is. Is that Steve Rogers? Is that Peter Quill? Who is that? It could be literally any white dude with a little comb over haircut. So there's way too many of those in the MCU. So having all of them in this series, it's so hard to identify them, unless they have a sick outfit. Like Hawkeye, obviously has the bow and arrow. Okoye has the staff and the Wakandan Dora Milaje garb, so it's easy to identify some of them, and other ones super friggin' hard. But on to the next portion of this trailer.
All the Avengers are dead, and they're coming for us.
All right, we got a world to save. Namor.
Shit.
Zombie Namor is right. Friggin' slices a poor woman with an eye patch in half. Literally slices her in half. Blood splatters everywhere. It looks like Kate Bishop at the end and goes, shit. But on September 24th is when this series will drop all 4 episodes. So I'll probably do one big bulk breakdown of all 4 episodes. But the zombies are charging in there, and it looks like getting led by an abomination type, and Hawkeye's there as well with his bow. You see Zombie Cap for a second. It looks like Zombie Okoye is maybe the general of the troops, but maybe Zombie Wanda is the head of the troops type thing. But we hear Florence Pugh's voice in there, so Yelena Belova is going to be in here. Although that animation of Yelena Belova doesn't necessarily look like Florence Pugh at all, just kind of like a generic white woman with blonde hair. It could look like Captain Marvel. It could look like Natasha. It could look like so many people in the MCU, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, like how many times like are we going to do this with the what if animation and stuff? Like there's only a few characters that you can genuinely make out who they are, and it's like Red Guardian because he's got the big beard and the outfit, and like there's even we see, you know, Shang-Chi and Katie in there. It looks like they're both using the rings for a second, and you know, fighting against the zombies together. But Zombie Namor is going to be in there, and it looks like Mahershala Ali is playing a Blade character, but that is Moon Knight, Blade Knight, I don't know. But somebody said that it wasn't Mahershala Ali that did the voice for it. It sounds, whoever, if it's not Mahershala Ali, he's doing his best Mahershala Ali impression, and the animation does look exactly like Mahershala Ali. But we'll see more of Blade Knight in this trailer. On to the next portion. So it says the Avengers are, you know, zombies now, and the Avengers are gone, and it looks like somebody gets sliced in half, and at the beginning of that clip you hear like, oh my god, and it looks like Shang-Chi and Katie are there, but who says oh my god? Is that Jimmy Woo, or is that, you know, it sounded like it could have been maybe Bucky Barnes? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if this is an Asian man, he shouldn't just look like a generic white guy. You know, like, I think the animation style, at least on the faces, could have been way better. You know, like the costumes, the actual style of it doesn't look that bad, but the faces on our characters need to be way better. You know, it's kind of tough to rely just on ear to identify who these characters are sometimes. You know, it's a pain in the ass. But we see zombies popping at the eyeballs, and it says, who will save us? We got Thanos with his gauntlet. It looks like flying with the Doctor Strange cape. We still have Head Ant-Man, so Paul Rudd's going to be the Head returning from the Marvel Zombies animation, you know, what if animation episode. And it looks like we also have Black Panther and Spider-Man there, and we also have a sick shot of Spider-Man flipping over the Aurora Borealis above him and then ripping a lot of zombies' heads off all at once and blood splattering. God damn, this is probably the most gruesome Spider-Man we'll ever be able to get, and it's an animation and it's a TVMA thing, but he's only able to kill this many people because it's zombies. But very gross. Takes off at least 12 heads there, a dozen heads at once. And at the very end of that trailer clip, it looks like maybe Thor arrives, and it looks like zombie Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, is, you know, maybe setting off some type of like nuke, or our heroes are setting off like a nuke of some sorts and sending the zombies flying back. Who knows? And then it looks like somebody's in a gunship shooting the ground. But in this next portion of the trailer, we get to showcase a little bit of our boy Blade as Moon Knight.
Whoa, that's how you do that then.
Wow.
Wow, so much heavy metal as zombie Wanda jumps into screen at the very end there. But Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Rudd, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Tessa Thompson, Simu Liu, Awkwafina, Haley Steinfeld, Wyatt Russell, Randall Park, Iman Vellani, and Dominique Thorne. And if I need to go through for character names, if you guys don't know those actors by name, going back through Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, Paul Rudd will be the Head Ant-Man, Florence Pugh, obviously Yelena Belova, David Harbour is Red Guardian, Tessa Thompson is Valkyrie, Simu Liu, Shang-Chi, Awkwafina is Katie with Shang-Chi in that movie, Haley Steinfeld is Hawkeye or Kate Bishop, Wyatt Russell is Johnny Mayonnaise, or aka US Agent, aka, you know, John Walker. I call him Johnny Mayonnaise because he is the whitest guy I've ever seen in my life. Not Wyatt Russell, he's great, but John Walker, terrible. Randall Park, who plays Jimmy Woo, and he was also in like WandaVision, and he's been in Ant-Man movies. Iman Vellani is Miss Marvel, so she's in here. Love to see that. And Dominique Thorne, Ironheart, will be in here, it looks like. So I didn't see any Ironheart in that trailer, but maybe she'll be like a big portion of the thing and saving the day. But in that last little portion there, we see Blade, Moon Knight in a sick shot of he like brings the blade in front of him, and we see Khonshu reflected in the blade. Just looked great, and then he slices a tiny version of Ant-Man in half, and you see the blood, and then he fights Ghost in this sick, like she's disappearing and all around him, and he takes her out, and he like pretends to look one way and then stabs her in the gut, and then she like coughs up blood, and then he slices her into little diced up pieces. I was like, oh my goodness. But they're all like, you know, Miss Marvel, the youngest one of the group, is like in awe, like this is so cool, and Yelena's like, oh, so that's how you do that. And that's it on the first trailer for Marvel Zombies, and that's all coming September 24th. But the second trailer I also have here, so let's just jump right on into that and start breaking down that one as well. Wow, so the TV MA logo that we know this show is going to be, and the MA of that logo turns into Marvel Animation as we see people running for their life, and Katie and Shang-Chi, you know, doing their thing, running for their lives, and then it looks like a giant foot steps on a car, so maybe this is Giant Man, maybe blowing stuff up, but it looks like this is San Francisco, and this is where we know from the Marvel What If episode of What If Zombies that the outbreak for the zombie outbreak started in San Francisco. And it all started with, I believe, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne was the one that attracted this virus, this zombie virus down in the quantum realm. So when they came back, they're now infected by zombies, they infect everybody else, and then they keep on going from there, and the outbreak starts in San Francisco. And I haven't watched that episode in a long time, but I believe, you know, the Avengers get wiped out, and then it's like down to like Vision, and he's like feeding parts of like I'm pretty sure he feeds T'Challa's leg to zombie Wanda to like satiate her hunger or something. I really gotta rewatch that episode, and when I do the Marvel Zombie breakdowns, I'll probably include that What If episode. So I'll do the 4 episodes of Marvel Zombies and the one with What If episode, so I'll do a 5 episode total breakdown of Marvel Zombies. But that will be coming in you know, a little less than 2 weeks, so can't wait to see that. But you know, it looks like, you know, Shang-Chi is running for his life with Katie, but we know he's going to be alive in this Marvel Zombies thing. So, you know, maybe Shang-Chi is one of the only people from San Francisco outbreak day that made it out alive with Katie, which is great. You know, hopefully he protects her at all costs. And I really love Shang-Chi, and I loved Katie from that movie. I hope they date throughout the MCU. Him and Awkwafina, so good. And Awkwafina just needs to be around in the MCU, and Shang-Chi needs a sequel ASAP. Like, it's ridiculous he hasn't gotten a sequel yet. But as they're running, a body falls right in front of them, and then they look up to see that a bunch of bodies are falling off the roof of this building, and a bunch of, you know, zombies suicide diving to the ground. I don't know what's going on here. But it almost reminds me of that one scene in like Fast and the Furious where like you look up and all of a sudden cars are just pulling out of this parking garage and like falling onto the street. Kind of crazy, but just with zombies this time. But on to the next portion of this trailer. On September 24th, no one is safe. And that music for that, the doom, and the red light, and like we see all our people on this like red light ship, and just in that shot alone, it looks like a couple of no names, maybe Shang-Chi, Katie, Death Dealer. See, it's hard to make out some of these people, you know. It looks like maybe Red Guardian, it looks like maybe Blade Knight's back there, maybe Miss Marvel. I'm not sure who's in this group, but the zombie group looks pretty devastating as well. Hawkeye, it looks like Scarlet Witch, Okoye, Abomination zombie, like oof, and then Thanos zombie. We learned from the What If episode of Zombies that they had gone back to Wakanda to try and get a cure for the zombie virus, and when they arrived back at Wakanda, zombie Thanos had already taken over Wakanda and was waiting for them with, you know, a gauntlet that only had 4 stones in it. You know, maybe it has the thumb stone, but it looks like, you know, he's missing 2 stones or maybe 1 stone. Maybe just the time stone he's missing. But maybe that's how they solve and fix the day. You know, maybe they use the time stone, turn back time to before the outbreak, and make Hank Pym, you know, when he comes back with Janet Van Dyne, maybe they already have the cure ready because they were able to with turning back time. Who knows? But it looks like Thanos is, you know, conjuring zombies up out of the ground, so maybe he's like unearthing dead beings from this war zone, you know, like if they were buried there or something, I don't know. So it looks like we're gonna have the Marvel zombies that are with the Scarlet Witch in Okoye, and then we'll have the Marvel zombies that are with Thanos, and it will be kind of like Thanos versus Spider-Man, head Ant-Man with the Doctor Strange cape and Spider-Man, and then it will be the other team versus Scarlet Witch zombies. At least that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Maybe the teams will join together at a certain point. But, you know, we see Ghost zombie in action. Oh god, I like Ghost as a character, but Ghost as a zombie is terrifying. You know, it looks like she wipes out these people no problem. It looks like maybe Yelena, maybe that's the power broker, but you can't tell because of the animation. And then the ghost pops in behind her and grabs her, so she's gone. But on to the next portion of the trailer.
Finally, the battle they will sing about for ages.
So Red Guardian's all excited. He's like, finally! He just wants to fight. Everyone else is like just trying to survive. And Red Guardian's like, finally! A battle they will sing about for ages. Oh god. And that looks like maybe Red Guardian and his like wife there. What was her name from Black Widow? I'm not sure, but she was good as well. The you know, the mom of the group. But yeah, it looks like we got Hawkeye zombie. That could be yellow light coming through his face. That could be some type of Eternal zombie. I don't know. I thought that the Eternals were machines. That could be a Captain Marvel zombie, or maybe like a Storm zombie with a white mohawk, glowing eyes. Zombie Wasp, zombie Namor, so underwater zombie. That's scary. And then the zombies start charging in, and we got Red Guardian here giving a hell of a speech to our team in this last portion of this trailer.
This is not the night we fall! No. Marvel Zombies, rated TV MA, streaming September 24th, only on Disney+.
Ooh, even the Marvel Zombies voice at the end was like spooky. Only on Disney Plus, you know, like. But don't miss the 4-part event To Die For, and ooh, that was an interesting one. But like Red Guardian, you know, giving this hell of a speech. This is not the night we fall. And then it looks like they set off a bomb, blowing up zombies as they run in, and there looks to be a lot of them. And then we see, you know, brief little shot of Blade Knight taking out Ghost, which we saw more in the first trailer. And then we see Death Dealer, which we haven't seen a whole lot of, taking out a bunch of zombies. And it looks like he stabs a zombie through his hand. And that looks like maybe it could be a Hercules zombie. And he breaks Death Dealer's arm. It looks like maybe once up and then once down. And then it cuts to Die For. And then we see Spider-Man throwing Stormbreaker. So where is Thor in this situation? That Spider-Man is wielding Stormbreaker, and he throws the axe, and he should have gone for the head, it looks like, because this zombie Thanos just kind of eats it, and they go, oh no, and then he holds up his friggin' power gauntlet, and it looks like he's going to use the Power Stone to beat their ass. But I believe that is a Black Panther with one leg, headless, flying around just ahead, not headless, just ahead, bodiless Ant-Man flying around with Doctor Strange's cape, and then Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is not voiced by Tom Holland, I don't believe, but still one of the most powerful characters in this Marvel animation universe. Love to see that. But Marvel Zombies splashes with blood on the title screen, streaming September 24th, only on Disney+. I can't wait for this. Comment below your thoughts. Are you like a zombie person? You know, like, were you somebody that watched The Walking Dead? Me personally, I'm not a huge zombie person. I am a huge fan of The Last of Us, but like I wasn't a fan of The Walking Dead. You know, I've never seen like the Evil Dead movies. I'm just not really here for zombies, not really here for like clowns, witches, creepy stuff. But like I'm here for like werewolves, vampires. I'm here for like a monster film. So maybe I am here for zombie stuff. I just haven't checked out a whole lot of it. But I will definitely be here for Marvel Zombies September 24th, and I will do a 4-episode breakdown all together for that. Or if you guys want to do separate breakdowns, comment below if that's something you would want. You know, comment, you know, your preference if you would want it all together or individual. But for me, I think I'll do all 4 episodes and the one What If episode of Marvel Zombies and like re-break down that, and then do all of the What If Marvel stuff together in one video. Yeah, Marvel Zombies right around the corner. Comment below your thoughts on these 2 trailers. Are you excited for it? Do you think it looks sick? Do you agree with me that the facial animation on some of the characters just are too hard to identify and you have to rely on your ears to identify the voices? Like, at least Florence Pugh's voice I can identify so easily, but her character in this doesn't look like Yelena necessarily. Especially not like Thunderbolts Yelena. She kind of looks more like Black Widow Yelena, but in all fairness, this was probably filmed, you know, or animated 2, 3, 4 years ago, and they've just been finishing it and just finding a place to put it out now. I'm not mad. I think it's, you know, a nice little animation project to continue us through this year. I believe we had, what, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man back in like January, so I don't think we've had a ton of Marvel animation this year, but heading into 2026, we'll have X-Men 97 Season 2, maybe a Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2. I believe we're done with What If, but you know, we got some other Marvel animation projects coming, including Marvel Zombies. So I will see you guys September 25th, probably, when my video comes out. But make sure if you guys want to talk more Marvel Zombies with me, you follow my other social medias, links down in the description below. Once again, my name is Big Cam, 2 G's in the Big. If you want to find me anywhere, just look for this face. And if you've made it this far in the video and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future trailer reactions or future videos and you get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name's Big Cam, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!